going to be more risk that that company isn't around in 3 years than, you know, if Google's going to be around in 3 years. So you have to be comfortable with that sort of environment. But if you are, it can be, you know, a very satisfying and a very productive environment in terms of accelerating your career.
Right, and let me, I don't want to embarrass Edwina, but I'm going to hold her up as a positive example, Edwina. Don't get all nervous on me. So, for those of you who are in my MIM class, you know that I've recruited 15 startups, and we're presenting digital and social strategy to the founders, the CEOs, the CMOs. And Edwina is working with a company called CureBox, and CureBox is a company that's building a platform that matches those patients who need to be connected to a clinical trial with pharma companies and CROs that are managing those clinical trials. And the founder got an email from Edwina while I was up in Montreal, and he said to me, "What do you feed your students?" Edwina sent me something I've been desperately trying to get my hands on for 6 months and couldn't. And I didn't even ask her for it, and she just sent it. Okay? Awesome. All right? Awesome. Now, I saw many of you interact, right? We had our famous Friday the 13th day, right? For those of us who were able to survive 9 hours over at the Heinz Center and then come over for our 7-hour evening session. And I've seen many of you, the way that you've interacted with your startup clients was incredibly impressive, and they captured all of the things that Michael just talked about. That you stepped up big, that you went way beyond anything that had to do with a grade, that you made this your own. And many of you have been asked, would you want to be an intern with us? Because you stepped up and you showed them what you were made of. And some of you tomorrow you will have that opportunity. Annie, I know, they're going to probably hire you, they're going to make you see it on the spot, Annie, I know it. Okay, I know. So that's what it's about, right? You can't fake this stuff, right? And that's what Michael is trying to tell you, right? They judge you on your actions. It's very straightforward. And there's no dishonor in looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I don't think I want to work 80 hours a week in a startup. It's not the lifestyle that I see myself in, right? So self-awareness, it's not, I don't care if startups are cool. When I started in startups, and I'm sure Vineet and Michael, startups weren't cool. We were a bunch of geeks, okay? We were sort of, you know, we were, what's the name of the guy in Big Bang Theory? Sheldon. Okay, we were a bunch of Sheldons, okay? We were geeks, right? Now it's cool. But don't do it because it's cool. Do it because you can't imagine not doing it. There's a lot of other ways to express your creativity and your talent in this world, and a startup is not for the faint of heart. Okay, and that's important to understand. Now, over the years that you ran the Summer Highland Accelerator, and I give Mike a lot of credit because he was way ahead of the curve, both in running an accelerator out of a venture fund and tapping into the brilliance of students, and not just from Boston, from all across the country. 2 of those companies now are billion-dollar valuations. Can you talk about what it was that you might have seen that would lead you to see these companies now becoming, from campus, billion-dollar companies?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was touched on, you know, by Varun, Kate as well. I mean, really what you're looking for is hunger and, you know, passion and a willingness and perseverance to not compromise. But being smart enough to be able to take in feedback and start to incorporate that and apply it. And also having, you know, that you know, to be that visionary leader that can help draw and attract talent, build and scale your team. So, I mean, you know, at the time that Summer at Highland was launched, it was 2007. I think YC had been out a year, and Techstars was starting that year. And the whole idea was, you know, we're seeing amazing students coming out of schools. You know, maybe there's an opportunity to kind of help them with their entrepreneurial initiative early on. And then, you know, the original thought was maybe in 5 or 10 years they're going to go build something interesting, right? And, you know, based on that goodwill and those relationships, and you know, maybe it would lead to something down the road, right? But it was very sort of pay it forward up front. But, you know, the interesting thing was just, you know, who showed up at the door that first year. I mean, you know, Matt Lozen with Jim Barr was there. Victoria Ransom and Alex Barr, who started Wildfire.